Welcome to this occupational therapy remote training session. My name is Kelly and I am one of the occupational therapists at Brent's Specialist Academy Trust. This session focuses on self-regulation, in particular, using the Zones of Regulation curriculum to foster self-regulation and emotional control. We're starting off with a quote from Aristotle. Anyone can become angry, that is easy. But to become angry with the right person to the right degree, at the right time, for the right purpose, and in the right way, that is not easy. And that is what self-regulation is about. So what is self-regulation? Self-regulation, or behaving oneself, involves carrying out a desirable action while simultaneously thinking, monitoring, and controlling one's sensory needs, emotions, and impulses in order to meet the demands of the environment, reach one's goals, and behave in a socially appropriate way. Self-regulation is the ability to manage your emotions, thoughts, and behavior in accordance with the demands of the situation. So why teach self-regulation? It has become more evident over the last 2 decades that pupils who have self-regulation difficulties, including pupils with autism and other developmental disabilities, benefit from teaching approaches that increase their understanding of their learning needs, such as the ALERT program and the Zones of Regulation curriculum. These approaches are designed to help pupils understand their different internal emotions, sensory needs, thinking patterns, and the environment around them. Once they understand these, they can learn about how these can impact their behavior and how they can control and adjust them. At BSAT schools, we use a combination of both the ALERT program and Zones of Regulation to support our pupils. The ALERT program uses a concept of an engine level and the visual of an engine or a barometer to categorize states of alertness as either fast, slow, or just right. The language and visuals used to teach pupils are dependent on each pupil's individual needs and capacities. Here is another way of using the ALERT program to categorize states of alertness. This visual would include a photo of the child as a car. Depending on their engine speed, they will be put in the too fast, just right, or too slow section. The Zones of Regulation curriculum categorizes states of alertness, i.e. emotional and behavioral states, into 4 colored zones. The blue zone is used to describe low states of arousal, when we are feeling sad, tired, sick, or bored. The green zone is used to describe a regulated state of arousal, when we are calm, happy, or focused, and are in control of our actions. This is the zone children generally need to be in for learning or playing with family or friends. The yellow zone is used to describe a heightened state of arousal, when we have some control of our actions but may start to lose control. We may be feeling annoyed, stressed, excited, silly, or nervous. The red zone is used to describe extremely heightened states of arousal or intense feelings such as anger, rage, or panic. A child in the red zone is not in control of their actions. At BSAT schools, the teaching of self-regulation skills is broken down into the following 5 steps. Number 1, learning the vocabulary for self-regulation. Number 2, developing insight that it's okay to experience different zones at different times in the day. Number 3, developing awareness that external and internal factors influence our zones. Number 4, identifying self-regulation strategies. And number 5, applying those self-regulation strategies. Please note that it is important that children can understand and use emotion vocabulary before the Zones of Regulation approach can be fully implemented. Children who do not yet have the required level of understanding of language and of their emotions can still benefit from adults modeling this vocabulary and validating their emotional states and behaviors that they display through labeling them. This is the first stage of the Zones of Regulation approach. If you have any questions about whether this approach is currently suitable for a specific child, please contact the occupational therapy team. The email is at the end of the presentation. Stage 1. Learning the vocabulary for self-regulation. The blue zone describes low states of arousal. Here are some examples of emotions that will be categorized in the blue zone. The green zone describes a regulated state of arousal. These emotions include happy, calm, focused, proud, and in control. The yellow zone describes a heightened state of arousal. As you can see, lots of emotions are classed as being in the yellow zone. The red zone describes extremely heightened states of arousal. These emotions include feeling extremely angry, terrified, and out of control. There are lots of ways we can teach the zones of regulation vocabulary to children. Adults can model matching emotions to the appropriate zone. You can do this while sharing books and watching videos or TV shows, and when looking at animated and real-life pictures. You can also label your own zone throughout the day and the zones of others around you. Here is an example of labeling emotions and matching that emotion to the correct zone within a book. Beatrice looks tired. She's in the blue zone. When discussing the character's emotion, show the child the emotion on your face and ask them to copy you. Show me your tired face. Here are examples of how you can label your own zone and model the zones of regulation language. I am happy to see you playing nicely with your siblings. I am in the green zone. I'm coughing and my head hurts. I'm in the blue zone. Perhaps you might feel in the blue zone too if you're not feeling well. I'm afraid of dogs. I'm in the yellow zone. That's okay. It's okay to be in the yellow zone if you're afraid of something. Stage 2. Developing insight that it's okay to experience different zones at different times in the day. First, we will discuss the body actions and behaviors associated with each zone. Displaying a variety of facial expressions can be difficult for many children who have challenges in self-regulation because their effect is often flatter and less animated than of their peers. It is important for children to be able to read facial expressions so they are better able to tell what other people are thinking and feeling. Facial expressions give us clues about what other people may be thinking so that we can adjust how we are acting based on that information. As we have discussed earlier in the presentation, the blue zone is used to describe low states of arousal when a child is feeling sad, tired, sick, or bored. Body actions and behaviors in this zone include yawning, crying, slumping on their chair, moving slowly, being quiet, or being sick. You can model this language by naming the body actions the child is doing as well as how they might be feeling. For example, I can see that your eyes are closing and you're yawning. You must be in the blue zone. As we saw previously, books are a really nice way to model zones of regulation language. As well as naming the emotion, you could also point out the facial expressions and body actions. I think she's tired because she's yawning. Again, you can model being tired and yawning and asking your child to copy you. Show me your biggest yawn. The green zone is used to describe a regulated state of arousal, when a child is calm, happy, or focused and is in control of their actions. Body actions and behaviors in this zone include looking, listening, and being ready to learn, smiling, and so on. Again, model this language by naming the body actions the child is doing. I can see that you are looking, listening, and sitting and waiting nicely. You must be in the green zone. The yellow zone is used to describe a heightened state of arousal, when a child is feeling annoyed, stressed, excited, silly, or nervous. Body actions and behaviours in this zone include giggling, moving around a lot and jumping, frowning, clenching, talking loudly, and so on. When you model language and identify body actions and behaviours in this zone, you might say something like, I can see that you are jumping up and down, moving lots, laughing, acting silly, talking loudly. You must be in the yellow zone. Or, I can see that your fists are clenched, you're frowning, your arms are crossed, you're stomping your feet. You must be in the yellow zone. As mentioned earlier, videos are a really nice way to model this language. When watching videos, you can name the emotions and point out the associated facial expressions and body actions. Depending on your child's level of understanding of the zones of regulation, you can either ask questions based on the video or comment on what is happening. For example, how does Michaela feel? How do you know that she's annoyed? What is her face and her body doing? What zone is annoyed in? Or alternatively, I think Michaela's annoyed. She's stomping her feet, she's sighing, she's crossed her arms, and she's frowning. She is in the yellow zone. The red zone is used to describe extremely heightened states of arousal or very intense feelings such as anger, rage, or panic. Body actions and behaviours in this zone include shouting, hitting, kicking, throwing items, or whatever your child does when they are extremely angry. When a child is in the red zone, it is important to wait and reflect on the situation with the child only when they are calm, if they are able to do this. Then you could say, you were shouting, hitting, kicking. You must have been extremely angry and in the red zone. Now we are going to discuss the fact that it is expected that everyone will be in different zones across the day. It is important to note that there are no bad or naughty zones, and everyone moves between the zones throughout the day. Green, it's not the good or right zone, and the yellow and red zones are not the bad or wrong zone. We don't want children to learn to say they're in the green zone because they think that's what we want them to say or that's the right answer. We want to teach them that it's okay and expected to be in different zones across the day. We do this through modelling and labelling the expected or appropriate zones for different activities and events and times when they are expected to be in the green zone or when it's okay to be in the blue, yellow, or red zones. As well as stating the appropriate zone for the activity or event, give examples of what is expected of the child. So we are having our dinner, we have to sit at the table, use our fork, we should be in the green zone. We are walking to the park, we have to walk nicely, hold mummy's hand and listen carefully. We should be in the green zone when walking to the park. I can see you've hurt your leg. It's okay to cry. It's okay to be in the blue zone. I can see you're annoyed because you cannot go to the park. It's okay to be in the yellow zone. I can see you're excited because it's your birthday. It's okay to be in the yellow zone. I can see you're angry because your sibling hit or teased you. It's okay to be in the red zone. Remember, everyone is different. One child may react to a situation by moving into the blue zone while another might move into the yellow zone or go directly to the red zone. Stage 3. Developing awareness that external and internal factors or events influence our zones. External triggers are factors outside of ourselves, such as other people, places, and events. different events can change the way we feel. External triggers that could affect your child's zone include things like the bus is late, your friend is angry and shouting, you cannot go to the park right now, you didn't sleep well last night, and so on. We've discussed that external triggers, including other people's zones, can affect your zone. But it's also important for children to know that they and their behaviour can also affect other people's zones. Our behaviour impacts the feelings of those around us. Let's talk through some simple examples of this. Kate and her friends are in the green zone having fun at playtime, but they forget to ask Emmy to play. Emmy moved from the green zone to the blue zone as she feels lonely and left out. Harry is in the red zone because he is angry. He is shouting at his sister. This upsets his sister and she moves to the blue zone. The children are in the yellow zone. They are arguing over a toy. This makes Mum stressed. She is now in the yellow zone too. There can also be a positive effect. The children are in the green zone playing together nicely. This makes Mum happy. She is now in the green zone too. When reflecting on situations, it is important to engage in discussions regarding how one zone can affect other zones. This supports the child to learn to think about how others might feel and how others might think when the child is in different zones. It is important to do this task when the child is in the green zone. Now we are going to discuss how internal factors can affect our zones. Internal factors can also affect our zones. These are your thoughts and feelings. We are going to look at 3 different internal factors over the next few slides. The first one is the size of the problem. The second one, self-talk. And the third one, thinking patterns. Problem size. Problems or challenges can be described as big problems, medium problems, or small problems. Adults can model talking about the size of the problem. For example, if your pencil breaks, that's a small problem. If your favourite toy breaks, that might be a medium problem, but if you break your arm, that's a big problem. Similarly, if the iPad battery is dead, it's a small problem. If the iPad is broken, that's a medium problem. But if the iPad is stolen, that's a big problem. With every problem, there is a reaction. Reactions to problems can be described as big reactions, medium reactions, or small reactions. If the problem and reaction sizes do not match, there is a negative impact. Others don't understand what has happened and can't help me. If the problem and reaction sizes do match, there is a positive impact, where others understand what has happened and can help me. I will discuss this in more detail. So let's look at an example. A pencil breaks. This is a small problem. But the child starts crying, throwing their pencil and paper on the ground, they're stomping their feet. This is a big reaction. The problem size and reaction size do not match. This results in a negative impact. No one might understand why the child is upset and angry and therefore cannot help. I'm going to show you a video of Brooke who has lost her pen. I want you to think about the size of the problem, the reaction she has, and the overall impact of her reaction.
Where's my pen? Where's my pen? It's not there. Where is it? I always lose my pen. I don't understand. It was just here. Somebody has my pen. Who took it? Like, where's my pen? I need a pen to write on my paper.
I don't have your pen.
Like, what am I gonna do if I don't have a pen?
I don't have your pen.
Not being able to find a pen is a small problem. But Brooke had a big reaction. She was shouting, stomping her feet, moving everything out of her way on the desk. The impact of this situation was negative. No one was able to help her. She also affected Ellen's zone. Ellen was in the green zone doing her work. She initially responded to Brooke in a calm voice, but Brooke continued to shout. Ellen also raised her voice. Ellen has now moved from the green zone to the yellow zone. Here is an example of the problem size and reaction size not matching. If a child falls and really hurts their arm in the playground, which is a big problem, and doesn't tell anyone, and continue on playing, this is a small reaction. The problem size and reaction size do not match. This results in a negative impact. Adults cannot help the child because they do not know what has happened. Let's try the pencil scenario again. So the pencil breaks, which is a small problem. The child remains calm and asks for help. This is a small reaction. The problem size and the reaction size are matched. This results in a positive impact. Others can understand what has happened and can help.
Where's my pen? I need to write something. I need to write something on my paper, right? On my pen. Does anybody have a pen? Do you have a pen, Megan? Oh, thanks.
Again, Brooke cannot find her pen, but she had a small reaction. She remained calm and asked her friend for a pen. Ellen understood the problem and was able to help, giving Brooke a pen. The problem size and the reaction size matched. There was a positive impact. Self-talk. Self-talk can be positive, and within the Zones of Regulation curriculum, we call this using your inner coach, or it can be negative, also known as your inner critic. Examples of things your inner critic might say are, I can't do this, I'm bad at this, and I have no friends. Negative self-talk has a negative impact on our zones. It can make us feel frustrated, annoyed, nervous and anxious, discouraged, angry, sad, and so on. Try to encourage the child to listen to their inner coach instead. Examples of things your inner coach might say are, I will try my best. Adults can help me. I have lots of friends. Maybe next time. Positive self-talk has a positive impact on our zones. It can be encouraging. It can increase our confidence, be happy, excited, stay in control, and so on. Thinking patterns. Thinking patterns can be described as rigid or flexible. Rigid thinking is also known as rock brain, and flexible thinking is also known as superflex. The concepts of superflexible thinking and rock brain thinking come from Superflex, a superhero social thinking curriculum. This curriculum is based on the notion that a superhero, Superflex, lives in all of us and is always trying to defeat the team of unthinkables that invade our brain and try to make us do unexpected behaviors. Another character, Rock Brain, makes pupils get stuck on their ideas. The Zones of Regulation curriculum uses this concept of super flexible thinking and rock brain thinking to help pupils recognize socially inappropriate or unproductive behaviors and therefore to manage social situations more effectively. Rock brain. Rock brain will only do what they want to do and will not negotiate with other people. Rock brain is not a good problem solver and tries one solution that's not working over and over. Rock brain may be very rule-bound and rigid in their thinking, only seeing one way to resolve a situation. Rock brain makes people get stuck on their ideas. Superflex. Superflex can help children to be flexible thinkers. They don't get stuck on their own thoughts or plans. Some other characteristics of super flexible thinking include trying to deal with changes by asking questions, trying to stay calm when things are not what they expect, being good at problem solving, thinking of more than one idea, and being able to compromise. Other characters from Superflex, a superhero social thinking curriculum, can also be explored within the Zones of Regulation program if they resonate with a child. Examples include Glass Man, who has explosive reactions, Mean Gene, who makes us say disrespectful comments, Energy Harry, who gives us too much energy, and Brain Eater, who distracts us from what we should be thinking of. Stages 4 and 5. Identifying and applying self-regulation strategies. Identifying triggers is often difficult for many children who struggle with self-regulation. So if they're unable to identify them, we need to directly teach the child what events push them into the yellow or red zone and what needs to be avoided or problem solved. When a child is able to identify their triggers, they become more aware of their states of alertness and are better able to brace themselves for what is to come. This allows them more time to apply problem-solving strategies or utilize tools to cope. There are different types of strategies that can support people to control what zone they're in. Some of these include sensory strategies, calming techniques, and thinking strategies. We explore these strategies through role play, labeling strategies in videos or stories, practicing breathing techniques, and by trying different pieces of equipment while the child is in the green zone. It is important to note that different people have different preferred strategies. What works for one person might not work for another. It is all about trial and error and exploring different strategies. Sensory strategies can be calming or alerting. Alerting activities wake you up when you're in the blue zone, and calming activities support you to calm down when you're in the yellow or red zone and are expected to be in the green zone. Some of these strategies include using a trampoline, therapy, resistant band, chewy, body sock, and so on. Other activities that can support people's arousal level include animal walks, playing with tactile media such as chickpeas and lentils, deep pressure hugs, quiet, dark, small spaces like tents in the beanbag corner. Strategies that are solely calming include breathing exercises, counting backwards from 10, leaving the room or going for a walk. There are lots more. Think of what strategies you use to help you return to the green zone. So these are thinking strategies we've looked at. Problem size, self-talk using your inner coach, and changing your thinking pattern with the help of Superflex. All of these tools need to be practiced while the child is in the green zone, so that when they're in the yellow or red zone, it will be routine and natural for them to use it. As I've said before, different people have different preferred strategies. What works for one person might not work for another. It is all about trial and error and exploring different strategies. So we've reached the end of the training session. I hope it has been a useful insight into developing self-regulation skills using the Zones of Regulation program. I have spoken about a lot of different concepts in this session. Please do not feel pressured to teach all of them to your child. Start with stages 1 and 2 and model using language with no expectation on your child to understand just yet. If another concept resonated with you and you think your child might benefit from it, please contact the occupational therapy team for further information or advice. You can contact us directly via the OT email address, which is ot@manor.brent.sch.uk. If you have time, we would greatly appreciate any feedback about this training session and online OT training sessions more generally. If it is something you have found useful and would like to see more of in a range of different topic areas, then please do let us know so that we can make sure we are supporting parents, carers and staff as best we can. Thanks again for joining me, and I look forward to hearing about how you've been putting all of this into practice.